Alright, what's going on everyone? It is Super here and welcome to another Injustice 2 video. Now today we're going to be doing another character breakdown slash overview. Keep in mind, I always want to mention this because this is pre-day one patch, right? I got my hands on the game a little bit early, and this is pre-day one patch, and also I guess it doesn't really matter because my characters are both level 2, but keep in mind sometimes the damage isn't really consistent because of the gear system mechanic and the fact that I can't really take away any of the gear without it looking cool. Like, I want to show off my little Deadshot helmet that I have right there. But today's breakdown video is going to be on Brainiac. Now, I haven't seen almost anyone talk about Brainiac because you do have to beat the story mode for Injustice 2 to actually unlock Brainiac. So before you guys do that, I wanted to upload this video, just talk a little bit about what Brainiac's all about. And of course, if you guys do enjoy these videos, make sure you guys leave a like rating. It's always appreciated. So Brainiac is really two different characters. On the ground, he kind of sucks. He does no damage. I want to take that back. Sorry. I want to take that back. He doesn't suck on the ground. He just does no damage, no combo potential, excluding one combo that's unsafe, which I'll talk about. But what he does have is insane range. Like, look at this, back one, two, you know, even his special move right here has a ton of range. Like, he doesn't suck on the ground, he just does no damage. But he does have air mobility, which is really fun, and it's something that I think a lot of like the crazier players are gonna really like about Brainiac, because he has a lot of air mobility. He has a dive kick that is, let's check out the dive kick. Where are you, dive kick? So dive kick is only -8 on block when you meter burn it, and I know -8 is still punishable, but normally dive kicks are like -15. Like, look at this one, -15. Like, the regular dive kick is minus a bunch. Like, that's what normal dive kicks are, even if you meter burn them. But this one is actually -8. It's a lot harder to punish. And I actually want to check if there's how much pushback there is. Yeah, so there's no pushback at all. So it's a solid -8. So some characters that have really fast buttons are going to be able to punish it like 100% of the time. But with online and everything, sometimes you're not going to get the punish every time, and it's such a strong tool because it's an instant overhead, which I'll get to the dive kick in a bit, but let's start off with the ground game first. Now, the ground game is pretty much composed of only a couple strings. I will say he does have really good buttons. You know, his stand 3 is like 12 frames, 12 frame mid that has, you know, a bunch of range. That's like character range. And of course, you could combo it into that. He has back 1-2, which is like, I don't know, man. It might be the longest reaching normal attack I've ever seen in any fighting game. Don't quote me on that. At least in any NetherRealm fighting game. Like, this is ridiculous. It's like two character, like, it's almost half screen normal that connect into a combo that connect into a special move for 17%. Now, in this range, you're going to be safe no matter what. Like, there's not going to be any character that's going to punish you from this range, even if they block this specific attack, which is minus enough to get punished, like if you're up close. But if you're like in this range, yeah, you're not going to get punished. But like I said, back one, it is a little on the slow side. It's 16 frames, but with something that controls this much space, it's really good. Like, 16 frames is nothing when you get a move that controls this range. Obviously, you're not going to use it here, you know what I mean? You have different moves to use here, but if you're like in this range, holy shit. You see, even if the first attack misses, the second attack comes out, which has even more range. So if your first attack misses from around this range, a little bit closer, your second attack is actually going to connect, and you can still cancel it into one of your special moves. So that's definitely really good. His stand 1 is definitely his fastest punish. Stand 1 is pretty good. It has some solid range, and it leads to his only meterless combo launcher, which is stand 1, 2, up 2. And from that, you could connect into this. So that's really the extent of his combo potential, unless you do a meter burn back 3 in a combo or meter burn forward 3 on the ground. that's it. Or unless you meter burn your special attack. Like, that's the extent to Brainiac's damage on the ground, and that's the extent to his combos. So let's see, back one, covered it. Forward one, let's see. Oh, forward one is actually a low. It goes into forward one too, but forward one two actually knocks down, so it's not really, doesn't really benefit you too much, to be honest. But you can, you know, scare your opponent into blocking or getting hit by this, because he does have the dive kick threat, which the dive kick threat is an instant overhead. I'm trying to get it like 2 instant where it's not even coming out. There you go. If you try to do it 2 instant, it's not going to come out. But as you guys see, that's pretty instant right there. And that is a 5-frame dive kick. I keep going to dive kick because it's so important to Brainiac's like gameplay. But your opponent's going to be scared of instant dive kicks, so you could actually hit him with this for 10%, you know, here and there. And you could not hit confirm. I take that back. You could commit to a meter burn back 3 if you want, and of course that combos as well. You know, and then do something like, here we go, this one, yeah. Yeah, I was doing with this one. This one's more of like a cross-up thing. Probably for a combo extension, you want to use a jump one. So definitely something like this. You know, it's a 2-bar combo for only 36%, 37%. So I don't know if you're going to want to go in that route. But like I mentioned, you could take the 10% because your opponent's going to be afraid of the instant dive kick. And of course, the instant dive kick, you could extend it for actual nice damage. So he also has this weird little diagonal move that's a low. This tentacle move right here. It's not his down one. His down one is this right here. His down one is a low, which is nice, and it combos into that. And so does this, but this one has a lot more range, as you guys see. It has actually a ton of range, and it is a low, so you could definitely combo those two. Get some nice little cheeky damage right there that your opponent's not going to be expecting. You hit your opponent with a couple of these, you know, that's like 30+%. If you hit him with a, you know, like 3 of these during the course of the round, the match, that's going to be around 30%. You could get some nice little, you know, chip damage with that. Drain the life little by little. This is another one of his really good mids. It's 12 frames, back 2. It's character length. You know, hit confirm it to that. It's a 2-hitting move, so you could easily hit confirm it. I want to talk about his special moves, his air mobility, all that good stuff, because that's really where he shines, in my opinion. So first, let's start off with the actual movement. Now, his jump is really floaty. It's not that great, because you could anti-air pretty easily. His forward dash is pretty good. His back walk speed is not bad, but it's not good either. But where he does make up for it is he has this move right here, which if you jump in the air, his tentacles actually cling onto the top of the screen, and you could move around that way. Now, you could do it in different directions. You could have it neutral, which is like medium range. He goes medium range, as you guys see. You could have it close by holding back when you do it. So you guys see he's close. And you could actually have it go far, far away. Now, depending on your situation, you know, whatever you choose to do, whichever one you choose to do, close, mid, or far, you know, just depend on your situation. But at any point, he could actually cancel it into a normal move and land in that spot. So that's something that's pretty cool, because if you land, you know, like in the middle of the character, like right above his head, your opponent's going to have a hard time knowing whether you're going to land behind or in front of him. And the good thing about that is that once you input the jump, you could actually, in the air, input your combo. So if your opponent, even if your opponent does block your move, you're going to be able to start your pressure with your move, because your opponent's going to be jailed there after a blocked jump in. And this is where this move comes into play. This jump in is really good because he puts himself into a little ball, and his tentacles, you know, have a really good hitbox. So you're going to be able to make like ambiguous cross-up setups with this specific jumping. So that's like the main source of mobility. Now let's move on to his second mobility option, and really like where he's gonna get his big damage and some tricky setups. So his dive kick, it's 5 frame startup, meaning that it's a 5 frame instant overhead. It's really good. Trying to get it as low to the ground as I can. Like I mentioned, if you do try to do it a little bit too low to the ground, it's not gonna work. You're just gonna get that. So you have to be very careful how you input it, but you know, the more you practice, the better you'll get at doing it. That was pretty low to the ground, and you can actually get a back 3 afterwards. It's a little bit tricky, but you could definitely do it, as you guys see. And that's where Brainiac is going to get the chunk of his damage. As you guys saw, he just got hit by a raw dive kick, 1 bar of meter, 35%. That's really the extent of his damage, to be honest with you guys. He's not really a combo character that does a ton of damage. He's more of a space control character with some really fun air mobility. He could create a lot of hard to block situations with his trait, which I'll show you guys some examples. And in the corner, you could actually make his dive kick hit behind the opponent or in front of the opponent, which I'll show you guys as well. So his dive kick is his main source of damage. Boom, boom. And the cool thing about his like little tentacle strike, this one right here, it is actually a hard knockdown, and they're on the ground a lot. So you have time to call in one of these, call in your trait. You know, you have time to try to mix them up, or try to do your air float to mix them up. And the cool thing about the air float and the dive kick is you could do them both. So, as you guys see, you could actually do them both. And the cool thing about the dive kick, even if it lands and you input a motion or you input the meter burn motion, he's gonna do like a kick backwards and it's gonna autocorrect. See, as you guys see, I'm on the other side. It autocorrects. And your opponent still has to eat the overhead, or, you know, he has to block the overhead. Let's go a little bit. Oh, forgot his trait. So his trait is a little bit tricky, and I personally don't think I'm going to be using it that much as far as like holding it. So I'll tell you guys what I'm talking about in a bit. But he pretty much calls 2 drones. One goes straight, it's a high, and the other one, if you press down in the trait button, comes down and shoots a little projectile on the ground. It has splash damage, as you guys see, and it's pretty good for cross-up situations. But the thing that I was talking about is there's a hold mechanic to the trait. If you hold the trait button down, you actually hold it and your drone doesn't come out until you release the button. And this is really tricky for me personally to implement in combos or anything, because I don't know how to like press buttons and hold the trait button at the same time, unless I like play claw or whatever, you know, it's called, where you you know, you position your hands a certain way to still be able to do things while holding the button. But I'm probably not gonna go too far into that, just because I'm sure it'll take a while to learn. But I'm sure a lot of people are. They're probably gonna be really good at that, because if you could hold it and do stuff, you could definitely become a lot scarier with Brainiac, with pressure and all that. So one thing I will say is something you could do is, you know, you could hold this and you could jump, do your special move, do your air float, and as you guys saw, those things hit almost at the same time. Now this is easy to do. All you have to do is just let go, and let go after you jump in the air. Like, you jump in the air, then let go, because when you jump in the air, you're gonna be able to do your air float. And as you guys saw, it looked like I was gonna cross up on the other side, but I didn't. Same thing here. Those things hit almost at the same time, and the opponent has to guess whether to block left or right. Of course, your opponent could always, you know, try to anti-air, or, you know, try to mess up your combo. It looks good in theory in training mode, but your opponent in real life is not just going to be sitting there looking at you. So you definitely have to come up with setups to actually make that legit and work. Now in the corner, he has something really interesting, which is his dive kick actually crosses up and stays in the same side if you do it a specific way, or it stays on the same side and crosses up at the same time is what I'm trying to say. I actually recorded that in action because it's really tricky to do. Like, you do an instant dive kick, it hits front, so your opponent actually has to block back, but then Brainiac crosses over, so the overhead actually hits on the other side. So I'll play it somewhere in the video, or I'll play it right now. And as you guys see, Brainiac stays on the same side. Like, if I'm here, I have to block back, I have to be holding back, but then at the same time, really quickly, the overhead is going to hit on the other side, so I have to be holding the opposite direction. And of course, you can make Brainiac's overhead actually hit on the other side as well. That's why the mix-up is so scary, and that's where, you know, this comes into play, because this is such a hard knockdown that you could dash up and then walk back just a tiny bit. You dash up, you walk just a tiny bit, and then you do an instant dive kick. And depending on how much you walk backwards, how further back you walk, and how long you wait, you could either stay on the same side, or you could actually cross your opponent up. So let's see if I could actually demonstrate that. If I can't do it in a couple tries, I'll probably stop, because you know, like I mentioned, it does take time to actually learn the specific range in which this works. Messing up the dive kick, the easiest part I'm messing up. So that one stayed in front. As you guys see, I'm gonna be holding block right now. I'm gonna be holding block, staying on the same side, and now damn it, dive kick. Make a hit on the other side. See, as you guys see, a hit on the other side this time. So depending on, so I'm gonna hold back right now. As you, look, I'm spamming back. I'm gonna hold back, and I got hit, because you could actually make it so where it hits in front or it hits behind the opponent. And since it is an overhead, your opponent just can't hold down to block the, you know, crossover situation. He has to guess whether you're going to hit him on the front or the back. So that's definitely one of the best tools that I found for Brainiac while in training mode. You could hit the dive kick on either direction and get full combos, because his tentacle strike is so plus and such a hard knockdown. This right here, it's actually a hard knockdown. Your opponent cannot roll. He cannot tech roll it or anything. He has to actually eat the mix-up. As you guys see, opponent cannot tech roll. So that's about it for Brainiac, guys. He definitely has potential with his setups. You know, like right here in the corner. You could have, you know, one of the drones come in, and you could cross them up at the same time. Stuff like that. I know a lot of people are going to find that, but this is just a basic overview of Brainiac. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. What's going on? It's Super here, and thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you guys subscribe if you are not already. Also, check out any of these videos linked at the top. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time.